whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast, and a lot going on this weekend. A couple of QBs that were benched. The ALCS continues on. Is this the week that Mike McDaniel finally gets fired?
It should be.
Because, man, they looked bad.
They look
I figure it's going to –
I think they're just rebelling.
Happens today.
Yeah, I think they're rebelling.
That's what I was thinking.
I just like it where anytime I hear a coach say, I'm not worried about my job, I'm just worried about the organization. No, motherfucker, you're worried about your job. I promise you're worried about your job.
that is the statement that comes out just before getting fired. Is usually
like literal every time.
So,
hey, but you know what though? Bo, you know what I do know? Watch this. Hey, Pags. Hey, Pags. Look at the screen, Pags. Who's that creeping in your window? It's the Cowboys. Right on your tail, baby. Don't you lose another game and let us get a win because we about to take over the division.
How about the Giants blowing it right
You're
at the
2
end?
games back.
Yeah.
You're 2 games back. You know that, right?
I know. I
just wanted to let you know. All right, there.
Pags. I'm creeping, Pags. And let's be honest.
Well, no, I mean, that second part is definitely
you
true.
beat a depleted Washington team. Good for you there, buddy. Good for you.
Hey, listen, last time I checked, it doesn't say nothing about that in the win or loss column. There's no separate category that says how many players were active or inactive. It just gives wins and losses and run differentials and all that craziness.
You're finally playing your best football. Good for you.
Wait, run differentials? What sport are you playing?
No, I was finding baseball in there too. I was just throwing all the categories and stuff out there. I know, I was a lot. Bo, don't run mine right now. You can't just be on Pags' side 24/7. I know y'all like to be on his side.
I'm not. I'm curious if you're a fan or if you just sit and watch your TV and be like, "Yay, sports ball."
Well, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both.
When you were,
I can't tell you though. Hey, I'm look. Okay. Now, realistic Jay's going to come back in this room. I know where
I've not met this one.
I know I haven't met him either, but apparently he's here today. I'm giving Pags a hard time because, quite honestly, I didn't even think the Cowboys could get to the second place. Depleted Redskins or not, I felt our team was just rough in the secondary, and we weren't able to hang with nobody. So the fact that we're even 3-3-1 right now is,
I mean,
better than what I thought. They're better than what we're talking.
That's why I still picked Washington in that game.
Yeah,
because I thought for sure it was going to be, Washington, even a beat up Washington, I thought was going to be able to tear up that defense, and you guys actually kind of showed up on D a little bit in key moments.
Yeah. Hell, we even got a damn defensive touchdown for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Never would have thought that was going to happen. By the way, that was Bland. I keep telling you guys, Bland is probably the only one in our secondary that I actually like. I'm not a fan of Trayvon Diggs, but I do like Bland. I think Bland is really good, and I think he plays a position. But the problem is that's only one damn position. It's the rest of the secondary that has issues. So, yeah. But regardless, I think the point I'm trying to make is I didn't even expect us to be 3-3-1, to be honest with you. I really did. I thought maybe 2-3 wins. And that's just based on our secondary and the fact that we don't have a pass rush.
Well,
it's hard to say on top when you don't have a pass rush. And on top of not having a pass rush, but your secondary sucks too. So I didn't really expect. Hell, even Pags expected a full implosion by now.
It helps that you have the best offense at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, since you opened the show with Mike McDaniels, after watching that game yesterday, do you think the team quit on Tua because of the comments that he made after the game last week? About players not, of
course.
It looked like they didn't even care where Tua was throwing it. Like it's like Tua threw it where the ball was supposed to go, and the receiver's like, "Nah, I'll go this way."
To be fair, I don't know that Tua cared where Tua was throwing it.
No, exactly. But I'm just saying, if you look at the second interception that Tua threw yesterday, he threw the ball like where it was supposed to go, and the receiver's like, "No, I'll just stay here. You can just throw it over there. We'll just hang out over here."
Yeah. No, and it's funny because he wasn't the only guy that got benched. Fields did too. And it's funny because it was just after.
Yeah, I understand you probably want to watch the film.
Yep.
But Justin's numbers are not good in this game.
No.
Is he going to be your quarterback next week, or would you?
Come on, man. What kind of question is that?
He did not have a good game. I mean, I think it's a fair point.
There's a number of guys that, I mean, sometimes this league is like this, and there are guys that have bad games. That doesn't mean you just bench them. Come on, you know better than that.
A few moments later, we got a Fields benching for Tyrod Taylor. It didn't matter. That team is terrible, but it's funny because it was immediate turnaround of, what are you talking about? We're not going to bench him. Just kidding. Go ride the pine, buddy. Like,
I mean, it's got to be pretty bad. You've got to be playing really bad when you're getting benched for a guy named Tyrod. I'm just saying.
I mean, the thing is Tyrod isn't really an upgrade, right?
No.
So
I thought the damn dude was out of the league until I realized he was a backup quarterback for the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, he may be a backup quarterback for the Jets, but in 68 career starts, he does have a winning record, which is something more than he can say about Justin Fields, who is like 20 games under 500 as a starter. So in that aspect, maybe he is an upgrade because he's 38-30 as a starter. So he's not terrible.
I mean, based on that logic, he's better than Eli Manning, who.
Yeah. I mean,
he's still an upgrade over Fields. He's still an upgrade over Fields, though, because they play kind of a similar style. The difference is Tyrod Taylor takes care of the football. Justin Fields does not usually.
Yeah, I don't know. And no, it's probably not the weakest division.
You could say the AFC North is the weakest division.
No, I would say that the AFC East.
Yeah.
I think the AFC East is. You
That's
have
what I was.
two teams that haven't won a game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo, who keeps pooping the bed.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as
The
they play,
Patriots are what first place in that division, right?
Yeah, Patriots are first place now.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see a 5-2 Patriots at this point right now. I mean, Vrabel's looking like the best. Well, I always say it's the Josh McDaniels effect personally that's going on with New England, right?
So,
Josh McDaniels, every quarterback he touched that's ever gone through New England's system has turned out to do really well when he's there. And then when they go away from Josh McDaniels, that's when they struggle.
I mean, what it really shows you is how dumb the Titans were to get rid of Vrabel and not get rid of their GM.
Yeah.
Put Vrabel in a unwinnable situation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because now, still not with a ton of talent. He's making the Patriots look viable. He obviously took the Titans to, a couple of deep playoff runs before all of his players got hurt and they got rid of some.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Titans are, the Titans.
Titans are where they are.
Effort is going to win in this league.
Yep.
For sure.
That's what we have learned a lot this year. Effort is going to win. And he's got his guys playing. And that's the big deal. That's the big deal.
And there is that. Got the
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
But I still look. I like Vrabel, but I really believe 100%, man. That I would say at least 85% that Josh McDaniels effect. That's a huge part of that team, and to overlook Josh McDaniels is absolutely nuts. I mean, think about it. Well, every time Josh McDaniels has been there, Drake May, guy's looking phenomenal. What's his name? The guy that Mac Jones, Pro Bowler year one. Josh McDaniels goes away. He looks like crap, gets traded. Now he's out there doing pretty good in San Fran, right? Tom Brady. Every one of them guys has Josh McDaniels is the common denominator in all of that. I think that dude gets
5-0. Isn't Mac Jones 5-0?
Terrible head coach.
Out there.
Great coordinator.
In San Francisco?
I think he's 4.
Mac Jones hasn't lost a game.
He's 4-1, I think.
Yeah.
Even still.
Yeah. But Mac Jones' best year with New England came when McDaniels was the OC though too. That was his rookie year when Mac Jones was 10-7 and the Patriots made the playoffs. McDaniels was the OC that year, and then the next year is when McDaniels went to the Raiders.
Yeah.
So, like every time McDaniels has been the OC in New England, New England's offense has been good. And
It's been amazing.
He is the classic case of some coaches are just not made to be head coaches. And Josh McDaniels is not made to be a head coach. He's just made to be an offensive coordinator because every time he's an offensive coordinator, New England's offense is good. The moment he leaves to become a head coach, he's terrible for the next 3 years. And then he comes back to New England, and it's like he's been there his entire career, and nothing's ever stopped.
How about Shane Steichen? Again, I think another guy who's got this team playing with a lot of effort. I don't think that he's got the best talent over there, but he definitely is putting his guys in a position to win. And
some people even right now have said that if you're doing a power rankings right now, the Colts would be the number one in the power ranking right now because the Colts have the best record in the NFL right now, and they are playing good football.
No, that's the thing is they've been playing really good football. So,
and that's again, that's what I think. I think you have the same thing with Chicago. I think that we're getting to see a group of coaches come in here and show how to win in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal. So you got Chicago, who's made the turnaround, and they all thought he was going to be a good coach. You know, Shane Steichen, they thought he was going to be a good coach. Interestingly enough, they thought the same thing about the guy in Arizona, and he is not a good head coach. That he was actually a better defensive coordinator, but
right.
Well, the thing with Steichen, though, too, is even his first 2 years with the Colts, he never really had a healthy Jonathan Taylor. He has a healthy Jonathan Taylor this year who leads the NFL in rushing. And he had to deal with Anthony Richardson and a bunch of other castaways his first 2 years as a quarterback. Now you have Daniel Jones who, I guess Daniel Jones can still play football a little bit if he's in the right system.
Well, Daniel Jones has weapons too, along with the system. I mean, he has a lot of things.
He's got Jonathan Taylor, but when you look at the Colts wide receivers, do you consider Michael Pittman a number one anywhere else but Indianapolis? Probably not. Do you consider like Josh Downs and some of these guys?
So you can try and shoot down the team as much as you want. The big thing is this is by far the best situation he's been in.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying he doesn't have like a good team around him. It's just that he doesn't have because when he was with the Giants, he had a better running back.
That is literally what you were just saying.
No, he had a better running back in Saquon when he was with the Giants. Like Saquon is a better player than Jonathan Taylor, and no one's going to argue that Saquon is a better running back than Jonathan Taylor.
I got it, Bo. Hold on, Bo. I got the issue, Bo. I got the issue.
Just stop. You realize
he's got the right chair, Bo. He's in the wrong chair. I need to go get the white chair. He does better stats when he's in the white chair. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm a very superstitious person. I need to get the white chair.
It's because he's not using Google. He's using, Yahoo.
Oh, damn. My white chair is no longer in commission.
But no, I mean, yes, Saquon is better. The other thing is he was hurt the rest of the time other than that one playoff run.
Yeah.
So you can't really be like, oh, he's a downgrade. It's like, well, he got to play with Saquon for 1 year. The rest of it was like part of a year.
Yeah, he has better wide receiver weapons with the Colts than he did with the Giants. It would just be if the Colts were to trade for like an actual number one, it would be interesting to see what that offense would look like. Just because like Michael Pittman is a very good wide receiver, but I still don't think he's like a number one. He's kind of in the same realm that the Packers have. The Packers have a bunch of really good number 2, number 3 wide receivers that play well together. But they just don't have like that game-changing wide receiver like some of these other teams do. If you would give the Colts a game-changing wide receiver, Michael Pittman was always viewed as a number 2. But he's just a number 1 with the Colts because that's just the situation he's in.
I vaguely remember the Patriots winning quite a few rings without a true number 1 receiver.
Gronk was their number 1.
And he wasn't there for 7 or 6 rings?
No, he was there for a good chunk of them, though, like 4.
He was there for the last 3.
He was there. He's their number 1 receiver, though, and he was a tight end. Same thing with Kansas City. Up until Rashee Rice turned into what Rashee Rice has turned into, Kelsey was their number 1.
You know what's interesting to me? Hold on. You know what's interesting about Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones, I think, gets a bad rap a lot. But when you look at him statistically, I mean, if you go back to just even 2022, 3,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That's not bad. I mean, it's not elite, but it's not bad. But point is, I think he's always been a good quarterback. Like we said earlier, he just has not always had the right system or even players for that matter, or even O-line or defense.
I swear I needed something other than coffee in my cup this morning.
His big issue has always been turnovers, and he's finally.
I got first off, I think what we're learning is that Brian Daboll is not a good head coach.
No,
he should be fired today. I think that Mike McDaniel should be fired today. Those guys should be gone.
So do you think McDermott built him up though? Is that what you think? Like, I'm asking, like when Daboll was in Buffalo, do you think that was more of a McDermott and Josh Allen that made him that way, or
no,
he got exposed in New York?
He can be a good coordinator and not be a good head coach.
Yeah,
we just said that 5 minutes ago.
I feel that he had the Giants playing with effort in year one, and they made it to the playoffs. He's trying to emulate what he did in that first year, and he can't do it because he's not putting in the time and the effort on his team to have them play with effort. And it showed 33 points in the fourth quarter that they were sniffing themselves. That's what they did. They were sniffing themselves, and they got smacked.
And the thing with that is like since Jackson Dart has taken over as the starter, like the Giants have been a much more competitive team since Jackson Dart has taken over, and whether that's because the offense believes in Jackson Dart more than Russell Wilson or whatnot. But if they don't blow that game yesterday against the Broncos, you might not be talking about Brian Daboll being fired because now the Giants are in a little bit better position. But now you just blew a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter by giving up 33 points. Now it's like, yeah. You can't do that as a head coach. There's no way you can blow a big lead like that in one quarter.
I do like the way that Jackson Dart and Scatterboo have formed that relationship, though. I mean, they look like they're two guys out there having a really, honestly good time playing a game of football. And I think that's something, that positive energy that comes off those two is something you can build around. If you have the right culture and the right, like you said, head coach and coordinators in place, you can build that off that type of a thing. You know, I don't know if they're ever going to get to that level with Daboll or not, but that is something that I do like to see. When you see your quarterback and your running back and they have that kind of chemistry together and having a good time, you can build off that.
Well, I agree, but I don't think that, well, the Giants don't have it. And I agree that, yes, it's going to have to be a package deal. Both the GM and the coach have got to go. The truth of the matter is that the GM should get fired now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the coach.
Yeah, because this is who the GM wanted. This is the GM that came from Buffalo, and this is the guy that he wanted because
you lost your best player, maybe of all, maybe the second best player of all time that you've ever had there in Saquon Barkley. And your team is ass. So, yes, I think that Mara, and he won't do it because the owner, he's a wimp. I think you could tell he's a wimp.
Right.
So, I don't know. But
I do like the way Jackson Dart plays, though.
I mean, they're entertaining.
I mean, yeah, let's look at the Colts. You know, ever since Irsay has passed on, and now the Daughters have taken over that Colts team, it seems like the Daughters are putting a pretty good culture in place, and they're holding the team accountable a lot more than what Irsay was doing, and it shows in what they're doing.
I would not put it past if Chucky makes it back into the NFL,
right?
That he becomes the coach of the football Giants. He did a video. Brian Daboll sent him a care package, and he's been doing. It's so funny watching John Gruden do box reveals where he gets a whole bunch of stuff. And he did the Giants. I watched that video twice, just because of the knowledge he had. Just like spitting it out, just like bam, this, like offensive lineman, defensive lineman, of course, Lawrence Taylor and stuff like that. He was just spitting it out like he grew up as a Giants fan. Mm-hmm. And now because of what happened with Vegas and them, I think that they are going to try to quell this a little bit, and they're going to give him a job. And I wouldn't be surprised that he goes back and he goes to the Giants.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting, honestly. I mean, Gruden is a very football IQ. I mean, he's smart as hell when it comes to that. I mean, you can tell just by the way he talks. And I like the way he relates to players. Like when he does all those when he was doing all those draft interviews, and they bring the quarterbacks into the room and they go over plays and he asks them, hey, what did you see here? This, that. You can see the way he's able to talk to them. And I mean, I like the way he's relatable like that. He's smart as hell.
And the thing with Gruden is,
I swear, like when I met him, like you just never know like what a guy's going to be like. He was cool as hell. Like he was like, not only did he own the room, but he was like present. He was there. Like it's like, there's some guys that can own a room but are a little distant. Not him. He like you said, he was funny. He got the joke. It was like I mean immediately we're talking and then we're bantering back and forth with each other. Like that's somebody who actually knows the room, reads the room, and then owns it. And there's not many men like that.
The thing with Gruden is I don't necessarily know if he wants to come back to the NFL just because of kind of how his tenure ended. His name is being thrown out there a lot for the Penn State job right now. And knowing how he's worked with like college quarterbacks, doing that old quarterback camp that he used to do heading into the draft and just invites like all these college quarterbacks into the room with him and he kind of breaks down their game. You put John Gruden at Penn State, that is a slam dunk hire for Penn State because he would be able to work with pretty much any quarterback that he recruits to Penn State, and you'd be able to get pretty much anybody that you want to go to that program.
He definitely wants to coach in the NFL again, though.
I'm not saying he probably would, but he'd probably make more money at Penn State than what he would in the NFL as a head coach.
That's what I would think. That's a $25 million a year job.
He can probably get 15 to 20 million easily at Penn State versus the NFL. You'll be scratching and clawing to get 10 million. That's why Penn State wants him, and they give him like a 5-year deal worth 60, 70 million.
125. I'm saying they give him a 5-year deal worth about $125 million.
Yeah, he would not come back to the NFL. Penn State just forks over.
No, like if they're backing up the Brinks truck, of course, right?
That's why, like his name right now is the hot name the last week for Penn State. Like he is the favorite right now to get to Penn State. Wow. Because Penn State knows after what happened with James Franklin, they have to make a splash, and not only do they have to make a splash, they have to hire somebody that basically can win big games and can right the wrongs with James Franklin the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, one of the things about winning big games is you got to have dudes that want to go. So grabbing a guy like Gruden, or like Eagles Uncensored there said, Doug Peters, somebody that's going to draw recruiting.
Go get both of them.
I don't know that Doug Peterson is going to have the same draw as Gruden.
Well, of course.
You could go get both. They'll put Peterson as the OC.
Sure.
Gruden as the head coach.
That'll never happen. That'll never happen. I would see him get his brother as OC.
Oh, Jay. Yeah, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the way that would go. But and then ultimately you need, so not only that, but you then need somebody who is out there actively recruiting via the internet every day. That's how you get kids.
Yeah, of course.
Nowadays, like you aren't going to their houses, like because the truth of the matter is that you want in this college football, and I'm starting to learn a little bit more as I'm paying attention to what's actually happening. You want to do something very similar to, and I'm going to change this a little bit, to the way the Vegas Knights built their team on the draft. That they went with low A tier guys and very high B tier guys. And you want to have them all make about the same amount of money. You want to spread out all of that money and they're all equal. So you're giving everybody like $400,000 or $300,000 for your starting, and I'm saying you're starting 35. I know that there's only 22 starters. That's what I'm talking about here. But I'm saying about 35 kids is what you want to have all be making about $250,000 a year. And a coach that can motivate them all to want to win. And that's how you're going to win. Huh?
Was that NHL or was that NCAA football you're talking about in terms of paying?
I'm talking about I'm talking about right now with college football. I'm explaining it by using hockey because that's the way that the Vegas Knights built their team when they drafted those guys. I think that the one guy who gets paid $4 million creates a certain level of resentment now in these locker rooms. So you need to be able to make sure that the playing field is even amongst the guys that you're going to use the most.
Yeah.
You know, the 35 players. And if you're paying them all, if you pay 40 players, $250,000, it's only $10 million.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that makes sense to me, right? That makes sense.
Putting that into perspective, what you just said, like if you pay like those 40 players $250,000 a year to get to $10 million, Ohio State starting offense last year made $25 million in NIL money, and that's only through 11 players. So, like Pags just said, you pay 40 guys the same amount of money. Not only is everyone making the same, but everyone's going to buy into like whatever the coach is preaching. Versus Ohio State, you're giving 11 players basically $2 to $3 million for 1 year, and the rest of that roster is pretty much getting nothing.
Right. So it starts to build the resentment.
Yeah.
And I think that by doing that, you keep players longer. Winning begets winning, and we learned that with Penn State this year. The moment they lost, they quit.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. And it's like, okay, we lost. Now we're out of the playoffs. And they lost to a good team. It was like they went down one notch. And then they just quit. They lost
to Oregon, and that's like not a loss that people are going to hold against you because that was a 4 versus 6 matchup. Like no one's going to hold that loss against you, but it's the fact that the next week you lost to a previously winless UCLA. And not only did you lose, you gave up 48 points. Like that is not Penn State football. And then losing.
Well, and they just quit. They quit on this team. And I mean, Joe Paz like flipping over in his grave, with all this stuff that's going on. And I'm not even a Penn State fan.
He's trying to dig out of the grave and I'll be like, I need to save this team.
But that's how I feel like that's how you would do this. That's how you got to be able to build a college football team that's going to stand the test of time here. Because yes, what will happen is that you'll start to get other teams are going to be like, hey, we'll give you a lot more money to come play for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you have to have guys of character. You guys, so you start to think of like Jay Wright when he built his team with Villanova. He didn't build with one and done guys. He built with 3 and 4 year guys. And that's how he won championships. He's like, okay, this is, we're going to teach you the right way to play. And then you're going to do this. The good thing about Gruden being this coach, if he was to get this coaching job, is that he's got Barstool Sports behind him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that gives these kids something to kind of hang their hat on a little bit. You know what I mean? That, hey, we all think we're going to make it to the NFL when you're playing in Division I football for an elite college team.
Right.
That being said, you want to be able to hang your hat on something else as well.
Right.
And, it's like by showing that and proving that, I think that he'd be able to keep guys without them feeling the greed.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question.
Let
me ask you this. Now, you put the premise of, which I think is a great idea. I like the idea of having all the players making the same level of money. So, like you said, there's no animosities left, right, or up or down. I'm wondering when it gets to the quarterback position, though, can you get somebody to take a $200,000 or $300,000 NIL deal to come play for you when? Are you going to get a good caliber?
So here's the one thing I am saying about that. Going to that one position. he is supposed to be the leader of the team.
Sure.
That's why you're only paying 35 guys a
Yeah.
$250,000, because the quarterback is supposed to make more money.
Yeah.
He is going to be the one who has to answer all the questions. He's got to be the one that's going to do all the talking for the team. He's supposed to be the leader. He deserves to get more money.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm saying he gets 5 times. So he gets 5. The rest of the players get 1 share. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about. Yes, so yes, you do want $1 million quarterback, and everybody else be making $250,000.
But do you
This
think
is
economically
the
that-
real world, though. This is never going to happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is something that is a utopian type of
Oh,
situation.
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and even in
But-
that situation, you can still get outside endorsement deals. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like
And like the one comment that came through saying the problem is the NIL. That's actually not the problem, because
well, it's a problem.
it is a problem to a point. Like, yes, like having some schools have 40-50 million dollars in NIL money, and some schools only having like 300,000 NIL money. Like, that's the problem. Like, there needs to kind of be, in my opinion, like a more set standard where like you can't surpass this much NIL money per year, just to kind of level the playing field a little bit. But you knew at some point that these college athletes were going to have to get paid for the amount of work they put into the program, for the amount of hours they're putting into the program, for the amount of money they are generating for these schools. They had to get compensated at some point, because
Nobody's saying they shouldn't get paid.
well, that's where the NIL came in, though. Like, they knew that these athletes had to get paid, so they wanted to
Of
give them.
course, they just didn't do anything to put any kind of structure to it.
Yeah, the
They
stress
just
thing is
open the box and like,
Yeah.
go mess it up. Like,
right? Like there needs to be like some sort of a cap on it. Like, you can't have certain schools getting 40-50 million dollars in NIL money, like Ohio State, Alabama, and then some schools like getting 200,000.
what are you talking
Like-
about? It's MLB right now.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
So here's the problem with those colleges that are only getting like $500,000 in NIL money. They're getting it from the wrong places. You need to get somebody in-house at that college that goes after your legacy guys, the ones that have made millions of dollars already.
Look
Go
at
ahead.
Indiana.
It's time for you to give back to your university. And we are starting this program. You want us to be able to compete? Do you want a national championship ring? You got to start paying some money for it. Because listen, you could give us $20,000 checks, and that's going to go go to a professor. You start giving us $1 million checks, and we'll make sure that money gets appropriated properly. And listen, every college, I know that there's not.
Every college.
Yeah, there's more millionaires now in the
every
world,
college
and in the United States than there's ever been. So
Yeah.
every college has got guys who have become ultra successful, and those guys are greedy too. They don't want to give up their money, but you got to get somebody who knows how to talk to them and from your university and gives them the pride back. Like, say, hey, listen, this is your university. I want to win. I'm here to win, and the only way I can win is you getting your money.
What you just said is the Kirk Cignetti theory to a T. In the 5 years before Kirk Cignetti got to Indiana, Tom Allen was the head coach. And Indiana had roughly, I think, $3.5 to $4 million in NIL money when Tom Allen was there combined in his 5 years there. In the 2 years that Kirk Cignetti has gotten there, Indiana has raised over $400 million in NIL money. Because
Of course.
Cignetti goes there, he knows he's got the winning culture. He brought the staff with him. He brought all these transfers from James Madison with them, and all of a sudden the team starts 6-0 last year. All these alumni starts donating to the athletic program. They start donating money. They see how good Indiana was last year. All of a sudden you get to the summer and heading into the season, they got $350 million donated just this past summer from all these alumni departments because of how good he was. And what happens? He gets a 5-year extension worth $15 million a year 4 weeks into the season, because it's like, crap, the donators are going to keep donating this kind of money.
And not only that, like he should be getting a commission off of that. Like,
Yeah,
he
no,
brought in $350 million. He should be getting 10% of that. And I know that he's not. However, he's also doing it the right way. It's not just, he understands, hey, the Hoosiers, we're a basketball thing. Winning in football is new. And that's hey, we're in the right conference to be able to do that. Basketball is where his bread and butter is really going to get made, and there's going to be some money that's put into that as well. And the truth of the matter is that you need a guy like that who's not only getting the money from the donors, but also saying, hey, listen, I'm signing you. You come play here, and I need at least 2-year minimum. Because in 2 years, you're either going to go to the NBA or you want to go somewhere else. But I need 2-year minimum. And then if you are going to go to another college team, I need a payback. You can write this all out in the contracts.
Of course.
This could all happen that you got to get a buyout for in these contracts, because these are all real contracts that are happening. So you could do whatever you want to do. You come play for me. I'm going to guarantee that the rest of the people that are here are going to try to win national championships, because I tell you, greatness, no matter how brief, stays with a person. And that again, I'm quoting, the Replacements, but it's that type of thought process that I think that colleges need. And the fact that they're just throwing money. I mean, I look at Alabama, they're throwing money at guys, and they still aren't the greatest team out there right now.
And you look at, and the thing with Indiana right now is Indiana moved up to number 2 in the country. You look at the rest of their schedule. They have UCLA this upcoming weekend, which they're going to be heavy favorites in. They get Maryland the week after that, which they get heavy favorites in. They have Penn State after that, which that'll be a closer game because it's in Penn State. But then they finish up with the 2 worst teams in the Big Ten in Wisconsin and Purdue. There's a legitimate shot that Indiana goes 12-0, finishes number 2 in the country, with Ohio State finishing number 1 in the country. So not only
and then they will play for the Big Ten
championship team, and then the loser of that game is probably going to fall to number 3 or number 4. So either way, you're probably still going to have Indiana and Ohio State are both going to get that first round bye in the college football playoff, because as long as these teams run the table, they're not falling out of the top 4 when the season's over. Regardless if they lose that Big Ten championship game, they're both going to be in the top 4. Like Indiana,
my problem is not the NIL money. I think these kids should get paid for what they're doing and the amount of money that they bring to these universities. They should be paid.
Yeah,
my problem is the transfer portal.
Yeah,
that's the problem I have.
Well,
I think if you sign a contract with the university and they're going to pay you all this NIL money, then the contract should be upheld and you should just be allowed to go to the transfer portal.
Well, so
I think a contract should be a contract.
That stuff is starting to get written into these because they had kids that transferred. So that is already kind of working itself out, because people were then paying, NIL money to essentially a different school. So
and the schools that are trying to buy, and I don't mean to cut you off here, but the schools that are trying to buy championships and use the transfer portal to their advantage only are going to be year flash in the pans.
Exactly.
They're not going to be able to do this, because ultimately, those guys that are trying to play all that and trying to get players from this and this and this and this and this, they're scavenger. That's that becomes a scavenger franchise.
They're mercenaries. Yeah, where I was going with that is to answer B here is they are starting to regulate it. They are going to get rid of the second transfer portal opening.
Yep.
So basically, you're going to have one opening. They haven't decided exactly when that is yet, but there's going to be one opening, and then you'll have the ability to hit the transfer portal if your coach gets fired or leaves for whatever reason. You'll be able to get into it then, but they haven't decided exactly when it's going to be. I'm hoping that it's going to be after the championship game, but before the spring game, so that the spring game happens again. The talk sounds like it's going to be after the spring game, though.
Like I've never been a fan of the transfer portal, just because I think it's giving players an easy way out, as opposed to trying to work for your spot. Like you go into a college and you're used to being a starter in high school, but now you get to college and now you might be the third string and you just don't want to put the work in to try to work and become a starter. But the only way that I've always been okay with the transfer portal is if you're being recruited to a program by a certain coach, you get there and either the coach gets fired or the coach takes a different job at a different program. Then I'm okay with players transferring out, because it's like, well, the only reason I came here is because this coach spent the last 2 years getting me here. So if he's leaving, I'll just look at another program.
That's literally what I just said. That is going to be.
Yeah, I know, but that's been the issue the last couple of years. Like these players are going in every single year because they're like, well, I don't want to be here, so then they transfer here. Oh, I don't want to be here, so I'm going to go here. Like that's why.
Well, they also had 3 different openings they could use, so like it was completely asinine anyway.
Yeah.
But and the fact that one of the openings was as soon as the playoffs started was wild.
That was stupid.
Right.
That was a dumb.
Well, and I think it should be, honestly, if we're talking about it like this, they normally have the championship game now on a Monday night.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's on Monday Night Football. I would have it 10 days after that. It opens up on a Thursday. And then it goes for a total of 10 days. Or even you could probably make it less than that, because at that point everybody should go. But what are they going to do about the tampering? Because that's where this starts.
You're never going to be able to do anything about it.
That's where some of it works itself out. Only having the one opening is because, that was one of the worst things about having the transfer portal reopen after the spring game, and also why colleges stopped doing the spring game, because they're like, well, all I'm doing is showcasing talent for somebody to come poach my people. So
Pretty much.
If they want the transfer portal to really work. And obviously there's going to be some like outlier situations that they probably reopen it for a student or whatever. Right. But if they have it after the championship, because having it during the playoffs is dumb, but before the spring game, so that they can use the spring game to actually evaluate talent, which is what it always was. That is the ideal spot. And, obviously if you have, a kid that plays multiple sports, if they're transferring because they're focusing on baseball or whatever, there's going to be outliers, obviously, but only having one per sport at a time that makes sense is really how it should have started.
Yeah.
And it all should happen after the season so that there can't be any tampering. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what you do. You open it up for the legal tampering, I guess, for 3 days after the championship. And then they get a week to be able to talk to these kids. Because listen, but we're still forgetting the fact that these kids are supposed to be going to college. They're supposed to be learning. They're not supposed to be playing games.
Right. Whoa. You're gonna lose student viewership on that. No, we support all you kids out there. Get that money. We know damn good well you ain't there for no damn education. You probably can't get A to Z.
That's our demo. Nobody in that age group watches our show.
That's the one thing I do. That is the one thing I like about college football more so than college basketball, for that matter. Is basketball, you can be pretty much a one and done player. You know damn well those one and done players don't give a crap about class. They're literally not going to class. They're literally doing what they have to do to meet the minimum GPA requirements to play, because they know they're going to the draft anyways.
Are they meeting those GPA requirements, or somebody taking them tests doing it for them?
Versus college football,
students going to all them classes, taking all them
versus
tests.
college football, you have to be in college football for at least a couple of years. So these students are actually required to actually go to class a little bit because they can't leave after 1 year. Like, you have to be there for, I think, is it 2 years or 3 years?
It's 2. You basically have to get your associate's degree.
Yeah, so you actually have to attend class. You actually have to try to get relatively decent grades. Otherwise, you're not getting that associate's degree. So that's the one thing I do like about college football as opposed to like college basketball. It's like basketball, when you have a one-and-done kid, like Cooper Flagg last year.
Sure.
Yeah.
You knew damn well that kid was probably not going to class unless he absolutely had to go to class for like a test or something. Otherwise, he's like, no, I'll just sleep in today and email my assignment when I feel like it.
I disagree with that. I feel like he was going to class to try to pick up chicks.
Probably. The one thing to keep in mind, you're talking about the first year of college. It's a bunch of prereqs.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're going in there for like pre-med hard classes. You're going there for like math 101. And
depending.
Let's not pretend that the first year of college is like the hardest classes you've ever taken.
Well,
like
depending.
I think one of your classes is orientation.
You can sleep through those classes and end with a B and be fine.
It's
like let's not pretend like they're in some like Ivy League elite classes. Like they're there in like basic just BS classes.
Depending though, because there's so many high schools now that offer so many of these college credits ahead of time now that you can get a lot of your general classes out of the way your senior year of high school. And I know for a fact that when
I know there's running start and stuff, but that doesn't mean you have to then take hard classes. You can still take easy classes even if you already have credits.
I know for a fact when the Plumleys went to Duke, because the Plumleys' aunt is actually my stepdad's cousin, so technically speaking, they're related to me through marriage. But when the Plumley brothers went through Duke, they knocked out 24 college credits before they got to Duke. So when they went to Duke that freshman year, they didn't have basic math 101. They didn't have like all these basic general ed classes. They were already basically taking sophomore and junior level classes their freshman year because they knocked out over half of their freshman credits before they got to Duke, knowing that they were going to Duke to play
Yeah,
basketball.
but that's somebody who is now trying to actually graduate college.
Exactly.
You can go and, hey, listen, you could take any class you want from Harvard University,
You can.
and the teacher will grade you and everything. You won't get the credit unless you pay for them.
Yes.
But you could take any class you want
Oh yeah.
at Harvard. You
Absolutely.
could get a whole law degree and take all of the classes, but you ain't getting the law degree unless you pay for those credits.
Yep.
You know, and it's amazing that they have that even stuff. So these kids could do that if they want to.
Yeah.
Truth of the
Yeah.
matter is that they want to make a lot of money and then get the honorary doctorate.
Right.
Pretty much. You can't look. You can't tell me these kids are going there for school. I'm not saying that there aren't ones that are going to school, but I would say a good majority of college athletes are going there to get to the next level. They're going there to get to the pro level. They give two shits about them classes. They
Well,
really give two shits.
And again, like
Yeah.
the kids that don't care aren't the ones that are doing running start for a year or two before they go to college to get into harder classes. Like those aren't those kids. They're the ones
Right.
that hit that minimum GPA. They go to whatever college wants to take them because of sports. And then they take the easiest gen ed classes because they're just
course.
trying to get out of there. So, I mean, you can't argue it both ways, Dustin. Like,
No, I'm just saying, like, there are, like,
have to take the hardest classes ever. It's like, that's not how that works at all. Because I know some football players that are
Yeah.
not the smartest dudes ever.
yeah, exactly.
And they still ended up with their AA before moving on to other.
And let's be honest. That these colleges, the ones that are getting the NIL money, you know they're not going to flunk a class. That institution ain't giving them millions of dollars only to flunk them and say you can't play. That ain't happening.
And the 2
That ain't even in good business 101 sense.
that 2.5 GPA is not even a thing. Most colleges make you get a 1.6. So you're basically
Yeah, exactly. And
That is
listen,
not true.
listen, why is it that you think that Ohio State offers underwater basket weaving? You know what? They ain't even got any. They don't even have a pool there. You know what I mean? It's like
This is exactly it. A lot of guys go back to college after the fact. You go
Yeah.
make that money while you can, and you don't have super hard classes that you might fail, mess up your athletic career. That's just dumb.
Yeah, the 1.6 GPA is basically they want you to maintain a C- or better. That's literally the standard that a lot of these colleges set for athletes.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
It's
A
gotten really
lot
bad.
of them are in that 2.5 range.
Most like 2.5 is even like a C+. Like a lot of
Yeah.
colleges now it's between a 2 and a 1.67.
well, it
Just-
depends on whether they're using a 4 scale or a 5 scale.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
the
much C-
difference.
average is what you need to maintain, which basically means as long as you show up for a test, if you can maintain a C- on the test carries 70 to 75% of your class grade. So as long as you can maintain that C average on testing, you'll be fine if you don't hand in assignments every now and then.
I mean, that's how I passed classes in high school because I never did homework and I showed up sometimes, but I did well on tests.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
teachers, and like I'm not going to say teachers are stupid just because they do have to go through a lot of schooling, obviously for college. But the thing I never liked about college professors is that first day of class, they would always give you like a,
I like that you're just shitting on everybody.
no,
today.
because this is the one thing that I told, because I never finished college just because I had personal things going on in my life that prevented me from finishing it, and I regret not finishing it. And I just haven't had an opportunity to like finish my degree. But the one thing that I've always
They got online, Dustin. Everything can be done online.
no, Jay, you have no idea. When I say personal issues, you don't know what I'm talking about. Like,
No, but I'm
it's
saying now though, you can go back now and finish it up.
no, because I'm working 90 to 100 hours a week. Like, I don't have the time to sit at my computer for 15, 20 hours a week and do a college course. I just don't. But I've told this to like a lot of like college professors that I'm still very close with. The one thing I never agreed with, like that first day of classes, they would give you the class syllabus of what you're covering for like the term you're in for college. And they always broke it down like you have a quiz on this day, you have a test on this day, you have something on this day. Why would you tell people when there's going to be a quiz and why would you tell people when there's a test? Because that's kind of giving them the option not to show up to class unless they're showing up for the test.
They don't care if you show up to class.
That's why I'm saying they should care though. Like lecture halls is different because You can't keep
Right.
track of 400
If
to 500 people in a lecture hall.
Why do they care if you're going to class? First off, you're paying them, so they
Yeah,
really don't
you're
care
paying
if you
them.
show up. And second, if you are doing the work, turning it in on time, and showing up for tests, they give zero shits if you are sitting in one of the desks there. And there's no reason for you to be. Like if you're
Honestly,
if you're
privilege, they really don't give a fuck. As long as you
hold
pay them the
on.
money
Jay,
before you even start class.
Hold on. Jay, hold on. So if you're learning everything you need to learn, you're turning all your stuff in, you're passing your tests, why do you need to sit there?
I mean, it's just the general principle of it, I guess. I don't know. Like my one professor wanted his students to be there every day.
Okay.
He wanted them to be there every day. He wanted to. It wasn't just because he wanted to educate them necessarily, because that's his job. He liked interacting with his students. He liked getting to know his students to try to just get a better picture of who they are as a person. That's why I'm like, then why would you tell people when there's a test? Like, don't tell them.
That's a personal preference thing, but that has nothing to do with you actually learning and retaining knowledge.
Yeah.
But and that also, and the other thing that does is that weeds out the people that you want to get to know. And so, like, you decided to show up for class every day, and you still have a relationship with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are other students that he has very similar relationships to, and obviously he doesn't have those relationships with the guys who didn't feel like showing up for class. But you can't make everybody fit into the same category. So yeah, you want to, because you still want to be able to teach whoever wants to learn the class or needs to know the class. So you still need to do all of that stuff. But if they don't want to spend the time with you, you can't force them to spend that time with you.
That part I understand.
You can't change their. It's not like you're grading on them being there.
That part I understand, but like the part that I guess I was trying to make to him is like, why let people know when there's a test? Just put the test out when you feel like it, and if the student is not there the day you're having
that's setting yourself up for failure, because you don't want your kids to fail the class either. So you need to give them some type of guide. Listen,
everybody
college isn't simple. It isn't simple. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are going to college, people that go, and I went to like 2 semesters of college. You know what I mean? So I went to less college than you guys have, I'm sure.
Yeah, I went 6 years.
But it was also a matter of, hey, listen, I went there. School was never for me. I was not going to be the guy that learned, in a classroom. Truth of the matter is like, I went to a calculus class and failed, and then went to my calculus-based physics class and aced it.
Yeah.
Because it was more applied calculus rather than, like, calculus is English to me, and I fail English. You know what I mean? As well as I speak and as well as I write, when I actually do write, because I don't write very often because it takes me forever because I edit my own stuff and it's just blah. Anyways, neither here nor there. I was never interested in sitting there and reading all these books that I didn't feel like reading. I wanted to read what I wanted to read about. So, like, if they were a lot more lenient, instead of making me read Catch-22 and A Catcher in the Rye and what was it, The Lord of the Flies and stuff like that, I didn't want to read that stuff. It was boring to me. The Great Gatsby was like a cool story for me. I don't know why that story happened to be more, but the fact that they forced me to have to read that stuff, well, I didn't want to retain any of it. And a lot of the times, like, because my brain works a little bit slower when I read something, I have to read something over and over again to really start to get the meaning on what the writer's trying to say in comparison to what I think he's trying to say. You know what I mean? So it's a whole different thing all the way around.
Yeah.
So that forces me to have to do things 3 times as hard. Well, I don't want to go to that class. I don't want to be in that class.
Well, not even just that, but you're talking about college. So a lot of these kids are putting themselves through it. So sometimes it's just like, hey, I'm going to have to work. I need to be there for test days. So they need to know those things. By hiding when the test days are, you're setting up any of those kids that have to pay their own way through it for failure, because they don't know which day they can miss, and they can't afford to go to every class.
I've just never seen a college, and I don't have a lot of college. All right, I've got about a year and a half, whatever, 3 semesters, I think. But I've always had a syllabus, and it always tells me everything, point A to all the way to the very end.
The college that I went to,
you get a syllabus, so they tell it to you regardless.
The college that I went to has now done away with that. So the new chancellor that came in 3 years ago basically said, I don't care what you put. on your core syllabus. You're not allowed to put test dates on that core syllabus. So the
And
past
that may
3
be-
years,
that may be- maybe that's the
years, professors have given out the syllabuses without without the testing on there, and their graduation rate has gone up 34% the last 3 years because now you're actually forcing kids to go to class more often because you don't know when.
I think your viewpoint on college though is weird to me because when I think of college, I think of grown ass adults that are paying money, and my obligation is to put the material out there. Your obligation is to pay me for the material and pass. And at the end of the day, Justin, if I'm a professor and it's a business, I don't care if you pass or if you fail.
What university are you talking about though? Because it makes a difference now. If you're talking about more of a boutique university rather than some of these large major schools, if we're talking about Ohio State in comparison to the school you're talking about, that there is going to be a tremendous difference on the quality of child that goes to that school.
Yeah.
In a boutique university, you're going to have more legacy students. They're going there because their parents went there.
Exactly.
They are going to they're going there for a specific reason. Sometimes it's religion, sometimes it's political,
There's
sometimes
also generally family money that helps
It's
make it so
UW.
you don't have kids paying their own way through it.
Let's just say UW-Madison, which is the biggest college in Wisconsin. 78,000 students go there a year, and they have done away with the whole letting students know when there is a test because they
want. But that's also Division III school.
Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin Badgers, Division I. Wisconsin Badgers. That's UW-Madison. That is why.
Well, now you know why. Now you know why their football team is not the greatest.
Yeah, exactly. Because they even said whenever you're applying for school at UW-Madison, they will not change their GPA standards. Like if you're an athlete, you are required to maintain a 3.5. They don't have this, you have to maintain a 2.0, a 2.3, whatever. You are required to maintain a 3.5 GPA at Madison or you can't compete. So that is why they did away with putting the testing dates on their core syllabus, because if you're required to maintain a 3.5, you actually have to show up a little bit and actually learn something and take these tests. You can't just be like, the test is the last Friday of every month. I will miss the next 3.5 weeks and show up the day of a test.
So, but they may not put it on the syllabus, but
I like that you pretend like you can't learn that way. Like I learned way better outside of the classroom than inside.
Right.
But if testing,
because my ADHD would take over.
And that's what the funny thing is what you just said there. That is a big reason why I had to leave Madison for school and go to a smaller school, because when it came to math, I am very good at getting math questions right without showing my work the way the professor wants you to.
Sure.
Because sometimes the way they do the problem confuses me on the board by how they break it down. I have different ways to solve the problem and get to the right answer. So one of my finals that I had for math, we had like a 20 question final. And to pass the class, you needed to get 15 of the 20 answers correct because you had to maintain a 75 or better to pass that class. I got every single answer right on the final, but I received a 50% because I did not show my work the way the professor wanted you to show your work, because I even told him, like, I can't figure out the problem the way you do this. Like, I have to do it my own way. And he's like, well, that just proves that you're cheating or you're using somebody else's work. It's like, no, that's just how my brain works. Like, I have to do this problem a different way. And I'm like, you can see that I have all the answers right. You can see that I did the work. Just because I'm missing 2 or 3 steps doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it a different way.
That's why I always did better with online schooling, because you could take it at your own pace. All you got to do is go down to the testing center, take your test at the testing center, and then you're good. But it's all about your own pace. And I think that's like Pags, I think to your point, because I have a real bad AD. I don't have the HD, but I got the ADD part. And I get distracted a lot. But when I did it online, I can concentrate better because I'm in a more controlled environment. I don't know. I thought it did a lot easier.
So you could pause it for squirrels.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
and
difference.
you could.
Yeah, you could pause it.
You could.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah.
This was
That
an
being said,
interesting day. I didn't.
There's some baseball that's going to happen tonight. So be sure to tune in for that Game 7 of the ALCS. Other than that,
Let's go Mariners. Let's go Mariners. Get it done tonight.
I know. man, every game they've lost, they've lost in a big way. So they need to come out firing tonight. But that being said, that does get us to the top of the hour. Kind of an interesting, viewpoint on college today. And so we'll see you all tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.
Let's go Canada. Let's go Canadians.